Hello everyone, this is Editor AK here. Before the video starts, I wanted to thank you all for the 100 subscribers. We have officially passed it by the last video I uploaded, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without you all. So from bottom of my heart, thank you. And if you have the time, please do check out my latest post on the community tab, as it kinda involves you in it too. Enjoy the video. So, hello my Gunrunners, welcome back to AK Reacts. I'm AK, an ex-conscript of Iran. I was a law enforcement conscript, usually worked at a precinct, and you all have read the title of this video. It's from our favorite creators, Mike Burnfire. It's been a minute since I've reacted to their stuff. They were the subject of the first video on this channel, and it's been fun seeing and hearing their stories, depicted on a calm Fallout 4 after nuclear apocalypse background. So before we start, make sure to go over to their channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, all of that to give the credit they deserve. You can check their channel in the description down below, or Zach Hazard's, I'm going to link theirs too, or click the video card at the top right corner right about now. And if you like this video, maybe do the same for me. And of course, disclaimer, anything said in this video is just my own beliefs. Living in this Islamic Republic makes you really hate prosecutions based on religion. And as a character, I must say I do maybe exaggerate a lot of the parts, but that's just for the flair. You get the main point, you're good to go. Religious people or people with faith and spirituality have never been the problem. Religious fervor and theocracies definitely have been. Respects everyone's way of life and stop anyone that tries to threaten yours or someone else's way of life. Humans are actually smart individuals. They can live together while not believing in the same things. So without further ado, let's get started.
You know what they do when the Pope dies?
No, what do they do when the Pope dies?
Oh my god, you're gonna love this.
Oh.
So when the Pope dies, there is an actual procedure. If he dies at the
That's a wild question I did not think I'd be asked today. Okay, the only thing about Catholicism's changing of leaders, in faith at least, that I know of is from the movie like The Two Popes. Other than that, I don't know much of, but I know about the chimney and the smokes and the color of the smokes meaning different things. I remember seeing it in the news as well. But let's keep going.
What do they do when the Pope dies?
Oh my god, you're gonna love this. So when the Pope dies, there is an actual procedure.
Oh,
If he
yeah?
dies at the Vatican, what they do is they go up to him with a little tiny gold hammer, tap him on the forehead with a hammer. Mike! Michael! Michael! Yeah, he's
What,
dead.
really?
Three
Yeah,
taps.
he's totally dead.
3 taps and you're out. It's like baseball.
I hit him in the head 3 times with a tiny golden mallet. I don't know what to tell you. He's dead.
Well, that second one was a foul ball.
What if the guy that's hitting him is like, just like really wants to be the next Pope? So they're like,
Next in
Michael!
line?
And he's like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah, I'm still alive. No, he's dead. He's dead. Put this pillow over his face.
Oh
The hammer, and he
god.
actually grabs like a claw hammer.
Yeah, I got it. It's a roofing
Monty
mallet.
Python movie.
I hit him in the head 3 times. He didn't wake up. Blood is dripping. Brain matter on the hammer.
Oh god.
You know, considering the Catholic Church's history, I'm sure that happened at one point.
There's a good chance of it. Sure, yeah.
You and I come from similar backgrounds, right? A Protestant family and an extended family. And I went to a Christian Reformed church. And after that, I went to a Sunday school and a catechism.
So many different things,
and
branches.
I went to, Christian youth groups.
Yeah.
And Christian cadets. And we went to private Christian schools. I've done that my
The
entire
entire
life.
system,
I
huh?
don't know if you've ever been to a public elementary school or anything.
Yeah, I went to public school all the way through junior high school.
So you're not as indoctrinated as I was into the Christian lifestyle. But you were still pretty deep in there, right?
Yeah, I would say still pretty deep in there.
And today here we are, neither of us Christians, right?
Not really, no.
Can you think of anything that caused you to start questioning or to outright lose your belief?
A lot.
I got kicked out of Bible study class, or like one of the Bible study classes in high school,
I don't remember that.
because I got in an argument with a teacher over whether or not Christianity was a monotheistic religion.
It's supposed
Yeah,
to be a
oof.
monotheistic religion, but you're
The
also
Son,
asked to
the
worship
Father, the
3
Holy
gods,
Spirit,
but the
yeah.
other gods are themselves. That's actually a decent question to ask, because it's
I was
kind of
like,
confusing.
Well, Christianity is a polytheistic religion then, because we were talking about other religious types, and then they had brought up the thing of polytheism, and I said, well, Christianity is a polytheistic religion then. I know it says it's monotheistic, but it has to be polytheistic because you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which is
Yeah,
like the
because by
biggest
definition
tenet of
that would be,
Christianity. The response was, well, no, it's not. It's a monotheistic religion because there's just one God.
So that's the incident you think of, at least one of the incidents.
That is one of the incidents where I was like, how are you being so close-minded about this? It's not like I'm saying God doesn't exist. I'm just saying that Christianity cannot be a monotheistic religion.
Yeah,
if there's
by that
three
definition,
separate
it's true.
I was thinking back to how I developed a loss of my religion as well, and I had a similar story when I thought back to one of my Sunday school teachings, and I got in an argument with my Sunday school teacher about what it would require to be saved. She said, only belief in Jesus gets me into heaven. And I said, what
yeah,
about
that's
before
kind
Jesus?
of exactly.
Before Jesus, if you had simply a belief in God, you would get into
Someone
heaven.
else might have
And I said,
another
Why is that good
religion.
enough now?
And I said, at what point did believing in God not become good enough? Take, for example, two twins.
In my belief, which is, of course, I'm going to just talk about my childhood and up to this point how I reached it, just like they said so. When I was younger, my family definitely was more religious. The entire country was more religious per se. It has fallen off a lot, and I mean by a lot. Of course, I need to also say that I live in a bubble. I don't actively go around looking for religious individuals to ask questions about. They keep up into their own lives, we do too. In my social circle, I don't know of someone that hasn't done something kind of illegal, because a lot of things are just outright illegal here. For example, in today's world, you need a VPN to survive. That's just it. Lots of different social media apps and all that require a VPN not to secure yourself, but to bypass censorships. Buying that is illegal in Iran. There have been some progressive laws being put into place to bring some social media apps out of this. There have been some progressive legislation put into place for this, as to decensor some of the social media platforms, so the requirements for the VPNs kind of go away, which is a small win, but the actual legislature was just to cut away censorship at the core, like no more censorship. And they said, nah, we'll keep it small. We're just going to give you some of the apps you used to like. So, small win, but still it is illegal to do so. And I've yet to see someone that doesn't use it. So much so they have written on papers and billboards, here we install VPNs for you, and commercial districts and cities. So it's not like a kept secret or something. Everyone knows they're using it, and there's an economy based on it. Most of my friend group have also partaken in some of the social aspects of life, per se, liquids and green smokes. Even as an ex-conscript in law enforcement, we usually didn't even bother going after people that were smoking some light, let's say, social drugs. Once I was told by one of my patrol officers, in this turmoilous economy and political situation, if you see anyone drinking, you look the other way. They deserve it, and who are we to tell them how to live their life? And that technically was the attitude for it. I mean, hard drugs we literally hunted down for. White powder and chemical stuff are usually designated as hard ones, and by our own definition of law, a user is not a criminal, it's a patient that needs to get its life back together. Your job is not with him, he's not your job. That's the medical line of work and should not be judged by law enforcement, you know what I mean? All I'm saying is they usually went after the guys selling those stuff than the ones using it. Back to the actual topic. As I was a child, I said my family was much more religious than it is now. I have both sides of Sunni and Shia Muslims in my family. They're all family to me. And I think because I had that type of upbringing, that I was in middle of two different groups with two different religious Sikhism, religious branches, I was more acceptable or open to other ideas and religions. But mainly I grew up in a mainly Shia Islam dominated field. And I think that was true until middle school, maybe high school. I was also part of a thing called Union of Islamic Students Association, which is a kind of a pseudo requirement to get into the Basij forces. It had gatherings, teachings, usually by some kind of mullah, giving us the teachings of Islam per se for the younger generation. High school itself was a wake-up call for me per se. I think I turned agnostic at that point. I wasn't believing much of it, and it wasn't all in me. Understand that Islamic Republic has religious classes and studies throughout its entire education system. In kindergarten, they teach us surahs to memorize. We start learning how to read the Holy Quran in our elementary schools, just alongside the fact that we are just learning Farsi. our own language. In like the third year of the elementary school system, they start adding in religious studies, a different class that's not a replacement, it's played alongside the teachings of readings of like the Holy Quran. In middle school, languages get a upgrade per se as we learn English, Arabic, and Farsi. And while the Arabic studies doesn't last for long, it's only for high school and all that, but the religious study one does until, not sure, but I think until like master's degrees, like full university. So yeah, by university I was not only just agnostic, I was disillusioned with the idea, and I think that is when I was at least a closeted atheist, which makes it so much easier to talk about country that is technically a theocracy. But yeah, that's where I have my majority of my qualms with religion. My issue with religion starts here, in somewhere people believing themselves to be self-righteous, to think that their word is law, that anyone and everyone should live by their rule of law, or for the fact that any of the current religions could be the actual quote-unquote true religion. I believe using the name of religion to wage wars is a completely absurd idea in itself. I mean, war bad. That's the general take, all right? But thinking you're a saint and everyone else is just wrong is a very weird mentality. I've had commanding officers that were very religious. Some of the most commendable people I have ever met. Genuinely wanted to have the laws of brotherhood, everyone being equal. In its spare time, I would see him like reading the Quran and never in fact missing its prayers by even a minute when it was prayer time. These type of people prove their character to me by being religious, by being spiritual. They garnered my respect per se. I only get my problems with religion when it starts being a reason for war. Also, I'm having just so many Crusader Kings flashbacks just coming to me. Oh, and by the way, just an FYI, my family owns a number of religious books. We have Avesta, the Zoroastrian script, one of the weird religions that isn't monotheistic, meaning they believe in multiple gods, but also they have a good god and a bad evil one, so it's like has the same theme. Also has some saint-like characters, and of course has a concept of heaven and hell. Also, they were the three wise men that visited Jesus in his birth. Those three were believed to be Zoroastrians. So yeah, we have a Bible, we have a Avesta, we have of course a Quran, multiple ones because they also have their own definitions, and the people that interpret them are different. Oh yeah, and because of these upbringings, my vocabulary is just filled with like lots of different religious words per se I use. Of course, they are a figure of speech, and I even use them in my own language, so it's not just English. Oh god, I talked so much. Let's keep going.
They live the exact same life. One dies enough. Take, for example, two twins. They live the exact same life. One dies one day after the other. They've lived the exact same life, but one of them goes to hell and one of them goes to heaven? Anyway, I'm not soliciting criticisms of Christianity. I was specifically asking about your personal journey, though.
Anytime I brought up challenging viewpoints as to whether or not it was a monotheistic religion, the response was not to engage me in a discussion about it. The response was to go, no, you are wrong, get out of my classroom.
Are there any other incidents that immediately come to your mind?
I think it's a lot of tiny incidents, and I'm not sure if I can bring up specific examples. Well, actually, I can bring up one specific example where...
Before he gets to that, honestly, our answers to that would be just don't ask that question, which was just weird. Let's keep going.
Where when I was at Fort Polk in Louisiana and Hurricane Katrina was approaching, and the hurricane fucked up New Orleans shit. As it should have.
Come on.
Burn on those guys.
Yeah, hot takes from Zach. And then instead of actually really
Mother
doing
Nature
anything,
be scary.
The response was basically, well, just pray for them. Well,
thoughts and prayers.
So you can remember lots of tiny incidents that frustrate you.
It's just weird because, like, I think back on my life and I can't really think of anything like exceptional that made me. I'm an atheist at this point.
I can remember small incidents myself. I can distinctly remember a couple of times where my parents disagreed with the church, and I picked up on that. Specifically, I remember one time I came home from my private Christian school, and my mother said, "What did you learn in school today?" And I said, "Today we learned there's no such thing as luck, because it's only through the grace of God that all things are done. So we should never say anyone's lucky. We should say
Predetermination,
they're
huh?
fortunate. And I remember my mother looking at me. She rolled her eyes and said something to the effect of, I can't believe we're paying all this fucking money for a private tuition. And this is what you're learning.
Yeah.
Fair.
Another incident similar to that was, I remember I was watching TV with my dad, and there was something on the news about gay marriage. That was the hot button issue of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And I turned to
yeah.
my dad and said, I don't think gay marriage should be allowed because it's all about Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And I remember that he turned away and said nothing. I was looking for
Disapproval.
praise, and I did not receive it that day.
I would say that would probably do it.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that I came to terms with it myself, because now I've got a gay stepsister, and I was able to attend her marriage recently. It was a very nice ceremony.
that's nice.
Oh.
I do actually remember one instance of when I was in, I want to say when I was in high school, the church that I went to, the pastor from the church was kicked out.
Oh,
It
no.
turned out he had embezzled a lot of money
Oh, yes.
from the
Wow.
church.
You got to see that on a personal level then.
We would be sitting there, and the collection plate would go around, and my dad would always put money in the collection plate. And I remember several times seeing like the checks that he would put in the collection plate,
Ooh.
and just being like, "That's a lot of money. I could buy some nice shoes, or
Wouldn't have to keep wearing tissue boxes, Dad.
wouldn't have to keep wearing socks that got holes in them, or anything like that." But no, that's fine. And then when I found out that the pastor had been
Taking the money for himself.
taking
Pocketing
the money
it for
for
himself.
himself, I was very, very annoyed.
The process is gradual, and I think getting
Would
fed up
feel
with
the same,
organized
yeah.
religion is one of the steps that leads to getting disenfranchised with religion entirely.
You know what's a really good way to become an atheist? Read the entire Bible.
Yeah. Did you do that?
Well, yeah, we had to study it.
Were there any passages that you studied that made you angry about the religion and
Like the whole thing about the Book of Judges, where it's like,
Weird
if a lizard
rules.
should crawl on a jug of water, dispose
Yeah,
of the jug
yeah.
of water in a field, and then break the jug into a million pieces. It's
Yeah.
like, why? Why? I realized that was for cleanliness issues back then, but I'm not super worried. I have a pet lizard at my house.
what's your name of the
He
lizard?
keeps cleaner than me.
I don't actually have a lizard. It's bringing it up as an example.
Oh,
Honestly, yeah, I've heard so many different variations of this thing. I'm not gonna try to be the poster boy for it, but there are a lot of activists that try to reverse engineer their terms for religion, because by their definition, as long as you are able to spin it, you can interpret these rules of law as some way to benefit yourself. A job that politicians, lawyers, and clergymen definitely tend to benefit a lot from. But there are other people mentioned in like today's standard of like Islam per se. Each branch has a couple of like renowned figures that they use their teachings to complement the actual thing, because apparently it's not a perfect book as they envisioned or needed translation for other people. And one of the clips I used to see was this one was like done completely in Arabic over like an interview. I'm gonna find it if I can, but no promises. Now this guy that was like an interpreter and the extender of his own book about this religion, I think it was Sunnis, had wrote down that the antidote to being poisoned by, I think, scorpions or snakes was to drink camel piss. On a news debate, one of those anti-religion activists stood up, brought like 2 bottles, one he called this is an venom, and brought another container that he claimed was the camel stuff, and told him, if you believe in your religion, down this bottle of venom and prove to me that this thing can be neutralized by eating this. And the other party was just silent and quiet, sitting down, didn't speak a word. And there's like entire sections of all religious books per se. No religion in itself is pure. They all had like hands that molded them, culture things that they adopted, and the way that they expanded to other countries, other demographics as just with different images. For example, the Jesus being white thing, which statistically is possible, but very, very unlikely. But that's the image that reached over the pond. Islam in itself was expanded or promoted by Iran in its golden age, and countries like Turkey or Central Asian ones adopted a lot of these religious tones from Iran. Like they got the Iranian translations for them, they used the same words to refer to some of their religious precepts, And those religions were more accepting of the others, those especially at the crossroads, as all religions would incorporate some elements of their demographic to show themselves open to others, you know. I believe Catholicism also have a lot of holidays derived from pagan ones. Oh, also, there is an entire surah or in the Holy Quran named Cow, which is a very lengthy one, by the way, depicts like rules of law. Also in the Holy Quran, there is a simple justice system, some judicial precepts. They're just all encompassing words. So you can't just accept one piece and not accept others, because that's making your own rules. You base it off of something, but it is your own rules. And if you can make your own rules, why not make something more appropriate, something more better, and just cut the middleman out? You're already making it, so maybe make it a bit better. You don't even have to base it off anything. It just needs to be good. So yeah, honestly, good points. Let's keep going.
Oh, I thought maybe you had a lizard named Lizzie.
No.
Aw,
His name.
let's go back.
Oh, I thought maybe you had a lizard named Lizzie.
No. His name the Frizz.
Yeah, the Frizz.
The cartoon?
Please let this be a normal school trip.
Yeah,
with
I
the
remember
Frizz.
this.
No way.
No way.
Cruising on down Main Street.
Okay.
The school
anyway,
bus and all that.
I can't actually think of another one that was another one of those little incidents where it was in high school in biology class. We were going through biology and we were on the part of the topic of evolution. I don't know if our school specifically was real big on the creationism train.
It definitely
That
was.
God created,
The reason I say that is because the teacher I had for biology, and I will never forget this exact wording that he said. He said, "We're not supposed to talk about this, but you need to remember to think for yourself and actually do research on things."
Well done, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he moved on
Also
to the
had a
next topic.
teacher like
At
that,
that moment, I could actually tell that, like, he was not happy about not teaching this.
but had
It's a
to.
Christian school. You got to teach creationism.
Learn to think for yourselves. Do some research.
I think we were in a lot of classes.
Critical
and I either
thinking is
didn't
a
hear
very
that or
important
it didn't
skill.
register with me.
I don't think we were in biology class together. We were in physics class together.
But I also remember a lot of creationism, and it was only when I got to a public college that I was given a normal science textbook. And
Wow.
in the first week that I got the biology
How
textbook, there was
eye-opening
a
it
chapter
is.
on evolution. And I was curious. So, in my spare time, I opened it and read my biology textbook casually. And it was like I was a 5-year-old who just found out about dinosaurs for the first time. My mind was blown. There was so much cool stuff in that chapter. You tell me there's a nerve that goes from a giraffe's eyeball, goes all the way down to its shoulder blade, and goes back up to its brain? Evolution.
Biology
you're
is
stupid. Why
just-
you do
yeah.
that?
Why would you do that, evolution? It was the most efficient. You're stupid.
Evolution, why you dumb? It inspired me to keep on learning more and more things, and I was amazed at the sheer absurdity of it. Evolution is very imperfect. It doesn't know how to make things good. All it knows how to do is make bad things less bad.
Hi, my name's Mr. Evolution. There's an island off
Fixes
the coast of
inconveniences,
Italy.
yeah.
We made elephants real tiny.
Tiny elephants.
Yeah,
Weird.
they're about the size of like a golden retriever or something. How cute is that? An elephant the size of a golden retriever.
That would be
I
actually
totally
cute.
Give him a little backpack and have care of my books.
Oh, can you imagine a child riding him into battle like Siam?
He's so cute. I
Aw.
give him a little war armor. Go
Don't
for
bring
the
your little
elephant.
thing to war.
It was a world of mystery that had been opened to me. Did you know that chimpanzees have 48 chromosomes and humans have 46? No, I did not know that. Tell me, where's our missing pair of chromosomes? It's actually 2 chromosomes that got fused together. Which ones? The second and third ones. Amazing! How do you know? Inactive telomeres. Oh my god!
What are those?
Just a giant nerd.
Oh my
Science is a
God.
single, yeah.
One of my favorite books was the book The Hot Zone. It's a retelling of a true story of how there were a whole warehouse filled with monkeys that were affected with the Ebola virus in like Virginia.
Oh.
And it almost turned into a massive outbreak. Anyway, that was like one of my favorite books when I was in like junior high school. And the book The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. So it's like, and both of those books
I've never heard of
talk
those
about
books.
how viruses will mutate and evolve. So when the whole creationist thing was like being pushed on me, I was like, yeah, but viruses evolve. Why couldn't people? You brought up the
That
Catholic
is true.
religion, and I find it really interesting that the Catholic religion has actually become open to a lot of things. They've embraced the concept of religion, or they embraced that a
Good
long
on
time
them?
ago.
What do you mean?
You know, they took a strong right turn there.
Man, they just latched on to the concept. No,
Right out of left field.
That's on
Catholic Church
brand,
has
yeah.
embraced the concept of evolution. The Pope recently has said, he was like, everybody gets into heaven. It doesn't matter if you subscribe to the Christian religion or not. Everybody gets into heaven because Jesus died for everyone's sins. God loves your child no matter what.
So you should too.
Stop trying to change them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That
I
is
think
true.
That is really interesting.
That's a
to me.
wholesome
Is
message,
now all
yeah.
they got to do is just stop protecting child molesters.
Yeah, that
That
didn't really
is
affect us because we
problem,
weren't Catholic.
yeah.
But I'm sure if we had been raised Catholic and we saw all the pedophilia going on and all the defense of pedophilia going on, that probably would have turned us off. But nope, we weren't Catholic.
No.
We're definitely not going to convert with that going on.
Also, the concept of transubstantiation is weird to me.
What the hell is
Oh,
that?
someone studied up for this.
Yeah. No, that always really bothered me. And I
Transubstantiation.
had some friends while I was in the military who were very strict Catholics, and a lot of the stuff about the Catholic religion, they were very, yes, no, this is true. You're only supposed to eat fish on Fridays, yada, yada, yada. And I would bring up transubstantiation, and they would go, I don't want to talk about that.
Bad dogmas?
By the time I joined the
Stuff you
military,
don't
I
need to
had
ask.
fallen away from Christianity as a whole. But I wasn't ready to embrace atheism yet, so...
Didn't you have, like, humanist on your dog tags or something?
Nope. I had deist. Which
Deist?
is deist, but misspelled.
Oh.
Whoopsie
How could they
poops. I've never been a
mess that
deist
up?
before. I didn't know how to spell it.
I tried to get Viking put on my dog tags when I was at before I went to Iraq, and they were like, "No, you can't do that." And I realized
Aw.
afterwards that I should have said Nordic or not Nordic. I should have said Norse.
Norse.
But they were like, "No, you can't." You
What's
can't do
your
that."
religion? Ninja!
Ah! Well, they let you put Jedi.
Wait, really?
I think maybe the last time I felt...
Wait. That's a weird double standard, dude. Come on. They let you put fictional ones like the Jedi, but not the actual ones. Like Norse is also an ethnicity. Or am I wrong? I don't know. I'm not getting into stuff I don't know. Let's keep going.
a religious presence in my soul was in boot camp, because after they've been beating you down day after day,
Yeah,
they take a break, and you're required to go to a Sunday service.
Same.
You go to church.
They made you go to a Sunday service?
Oh yes, you were not allowed to not go to a Sunday service. You can go to the Buddhist one if you want, but you're not sitting around here. Get out here. Go.
Oh.
And I went to the church, and we were all holding hands and singing and crying, because, oh, the grace of God, this is so great. I'm so happy to be alive. And that was it. That's the last time I ever felt anything.
I think it was Stockholm Syndrome
You-
going away.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it probably was.
Yeah.
I was just happy to have some sanctuary from the drill instructors. They can't yell at me here.
Oh, yeah, they
Oh,
can't
yeah,
yell
yeah.
at you.
They didn't
It's a
make
house
us
of God.
go to a church service, but if you went to a church service, you didn't have to stay in the barracks. And if you stayed in the barracks, you had to be doing something. I guess this is probably one of the pro-religion
Sure, yeah,
points.
I get that.
I went to the church service, and the guy that was leading it when we
No
showed up
one
there,
can
he
be
said,
seen not
as long
doing
as you're being
anything.
respectful, you can do whatever you want. If you fall asleep, I'm not going to yell at you.
Yes,
Nice.
yes.
Because if God's going to
That
talk
was
to you,
our
he's gonna
asylum
talk to
as
you
well.
while you're asleep or awake. It doesn't really matter.
A church that goes, well, if you fall asleep here, it must have been what God wanted.
Yeah. God must have wanted it, so it's okay. I'm just in the church with a bottle of whiskey. No, God wanted this.
Oh, God.
It's all right. He put $5 in my wallet to buy his handle, old granddad.
Where'd you get that hamburger? God.
God gave it to me.
I remember one of the Bible study classes I took. If you didn't know the answer to the question, the answer was always, because God wills it.
Oh, yeah, we had that the same.
Oh, good times.
Honestly, we had the same thing. God, I actually completely forgot about that. There's this joke that if you had never studied for like religious studies, the things I talked about, you could answer almost any question with the words, the family of the Prophet, peace be upon him, the Holy Quran, and the pillars of Islam. If you wrote down some of these things, usually one of them would be the answer, or you would at least get passing grades. But yeah, we also had the standard answers for this type of tests. Also in conscription, there is a lot of oversight to see if you do believe in these religious things, in boot camp especially. But on the mission zones, not really. No one technically cared. In boot camp, before we even like started to eat our breakfast, we would be woken up, wash our hands and feet, and march towards the mosque for our morning prayers. After that, we got to eat, and after that, we got the formations. So yeah, it was pretty early in the morning that we had to do this as well. Let's keep going.
About religion.
Talking about religion.
We put the fun back in fundamentalism.
Damn it, I was about to say it!
That was really good.
Ah!
Oh, that was fun. So yeah, guys, make sure to visit their channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that. And one more point. I don't believe we should actually label different religions differently. As someone who doesn't believe in religion, I don't have a dog in this fight, all right? I just want to say fundamentalism and extremism has been like interchangeably used, even though some of them aren't really. Extremism in itself is just bad, but some of these extremist groups, you shouldn't actually even name their religion. Just a couple of notes, by even the rules of Islam itself, you are never allowed to harm those that are not combatants in any situation. Even when it's war, you should not involve people that are not involved in that conflict. You should not loot houses of your enemies. You cannot enforce your will upon them. And it's weird to hear this and see the most un-Islamic behavior in these groups that are representing themselves as like the frontiers of this religion, the militia of this religion, and see how their actual rhetoric disapproves of themselves, yet they see themselves as this beacon of hope of sorts, you know? You can't forcibly convert a extremist. You just need to tell him to read his own book and think if he thinks those are actually right. Not if the source is good or accepted or respected, but what it actually says holds up, and is it what he is doing? Well, that was the end of this video. Ended longer than it should, but still, controversial topic and all that. Again, these are all my own beliefs. As I stated in the start of the video, we can all coexist peacefully. And if a new system one day is sent into legislature, I hope their religious requirements for this government kind of change. Because lots of Iranians aren't just the Shia Muslim that everyone knows them by. There are communities of Persian Jews, Persian Sunni Muslims. There are also Iranian Arabs, which are mostly Sunnis. There are Christian communities, and Persia itself has had a not so insignificant touch in most of these religions. And it is ironic that the civilization that wrote down the Charter of Human Rights, with one of its clauses being freedom of religion, has now in our current day being ruled by a theocracy. Thank you all for watching this video, and if you liked it, maybe leave a like. See you all next week. Bye.